Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over what to buy and what to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. Now we actually have a pretty decent week on our hands, and of course starting off with the car sitting right here behind me. This is the Benefactor Vorschlag Hammer, which has been added into Grand Theft Auto Online as of today. It's a pretty good vehicle, and I do have a customization and review out on my channel now, so if you want to check that out, it is available. This thing's also really cool because it does get access to the drift tuning modification within the LS car meet, so it does get the ability to drift a lot more easy than a lot of other vehicles in GTA Online, and it is of course available on Southern San Andreas Super Autos for $1,790,000. It's really cool based off the Mercedes 190E. This thing's super sick, and you guys should definitely consider picking one up if you guys are interested. Now, before we get into anything else about any other vehicles this week, discounts, stuff like that, we of course have to talk about how to earn some money this week in Grand Theft Auto Online, so let's go ahead and talk about it. To start things off, we have triple money and triple RP on taxi work for the remainder of this week. Now, I will just remind you guys before you go, oh, that sucks. Taxi work did get a 2.5 or 250% added bonus to it with the last update to come out to Grand Theft Auto Online, which actually made taxi work pay between, I'd say, $120,000 and potentially $150,000 per hour that you did it. So now that it's on triple money, after being on 2.5 times money permanently, this is actually going to be paying you guys a ton of money. I would say between $300,000 to about $450,000 per hour that you do it, and it's really easy. So if you're a low level and you don't have much money in GTA Online, taxi work is going to be your friend this week. And don't forget that the first taxi fare that you complete is going to be the lowest paying one, and once you get to 10 fares, you are at the maximum bonus for taxi work. So you're going to be making some pretty good money with taxi work this week. And whether you're a low level or a high level player, this is actually going to be one of the best ways to earn money this week in online, and you guys should definitely check it out. And of course, there's no upfront costs. You simply go to the downtown cab company, which is located right here, and you go there and you sign up for taxi work and you just get to it. So this is actually a pretty good way to earn money this week. I just had to go off about that for a second right quick, but now we got to talk about the other ways to make some money. Now, both of the other ways to earn money are going to be involving racing, and the first races that are on double money and double RP are the ISI Classic stunt races. These are pretty fun. I would recommend trying them out if you haven't before. Double money and double RP is pretty good, but again, that taxi work is just going to be so insane this week. This isn't super worth your time, but it is a lot of fun, so if you can find people to play with, it is worth it, I would say. And of course, being that we do have a new drift tunable car this week, we have drift races on double money and double RP for the remainder of this week, so this is definitely something I would look into if you guys are interested. And if you do happen to buy the Vorschlag Hammer, you might want to test it out by doing some drift races, and these are of course double money and double RP, so what's not to like about that? So now we got to talk about the discounts, and discounts are actually all available on the websites this week, which is kind of odd, but we're going to talk about those quickly. Then we're going to head to the casino, the car meet, and talk about the vehicles that are available this week in online. Some of them are removed, some of them are not. We'll talk about that in a minute. Oddly enough, starting off on Elitist Travel, we have the Annihilator discounted this week by 40% off. Not really sure why they discounted this week, but hey, if you want an Annihilator that you can call from Pegasus, it's only, just under $1.1 million this week. Can't necessarily recommend buying it, although the machine guns on it do deal some very heavy damage. They are some of the very best in the game, but for almost 1.1 mil, I can't necessarily say it's actually worth buying, especially when you can go to the helipad and find it more often than not. But if you guys are interested, it might be worth it for you guys to pick it up. Not 100% sure on that, but it's something that I don't really recommend, but if you want it, then don't listen to me. On Legendary Motorsport, we have two discounts, one of which is on the Overflawed Tyrant. The Tyrant is 40% off this week, which is actually a very good discount. However, this car completely sucks, and I would really recommend not buying it. Now, the reason that I say this is because it does have engine resistance, meaning that it is a lot slower than it actually should be, because the engine over revs, but the transmission will not shift the gears, and basically this results in a much lower top speed, as well as much worse acceleration. as you go. So this is something that I don't really recommend picking up. The Tyrant is also massive for what it is. Like, it's supposed to be a supercar, but this thing is like big. It's like big SUV sized. Like, its footprint is quite massive. The customization is also not super great on it. So I really would advise you to not purchase the overclocked Tyrant this week. I don't think it's a good use of your money. Even for 1.5 mil, it is still pretty bad performance wise. So you could buy 2 Zentornos for that price, and the Zentorno will outperform this thing easily. So I would not recommend picking up the Tyrant this week, but of course, if you want it anyways, feel free, I guess. If it's your money, man, it's your money. Next up, we have the Western Reaver discounted on Legendary Motorsport for $1,330,000, discounted by 30%. The Reaver does get access to a really good speed glitch, which actually makes it one of the fastest bikes in GTA Online when you are wheeling, of course. It's a pretty good bike in that regard. It's also got quite a bit of customization. For 1.3 mil, I can't say that you shouldn't buy it, just given how good it is with the speed glitch and stuff like that. It's not the greatest bike when it comes to like turning, things like that, and it's really only good because of the speed glitch that happens when you're wheeling. So if you're looking for a bike that's going to be good in the corners, this one isn't really going to be one that you're looking for, but if you want something that's just really good in a straight line over a long distance, the Western Reaver is pretty awesome, albeit it's not as good as the Power Surge, but it is quite close. On Southern San Andreas Super Autos, we have the Bravado Hot Ring Hellfire discounted this week by 30% off. This thing is the best hot ring car in GTA Online, so it is one that I would recommend having, and while it's discounted, you kind of can't really go wrong with it. It doesn't have much in the way of customization at all, but it does have a spoiler option, which is pretty unique for the hot ring class, and it also has an air brake with these flaps that go up on the roof, and they will help you to brake much faster than you normally could. It's a pretty cool car. For 1.267 mil, it's not bad. I would say that this is one that I kind of recommend this week, but only if you plan to actually do hot ring circuit races. If it's just going to be a car that's going to sit in your garage and collect dust and you're not planning to drive it, I'd say avoid it. But generally, I would say it is a pretty good car, best hot ring car by far, and for, you know, just over 1.25 mil, you kind of can't go wrong. I would say I'm like 60% like on buying this week for sure. But there is that, you know, aspect of it where if you're not going to use it, you should not buy it. For sure. And scrolling a little further down, we have the Dinka Postlude as well as the Dinka Kenjo SJ, both discounted, both 30% off. Both of these cars suck. I'm sorry for the Civic fans and the old Prelude fans, but they are objectively not very good cars. They are both front wheel drive, which means they get terrible acceleration as well as torque steering, which really sucks. And the acceleration even off the line is trash. And after off the line, it's still trash. The top speeds are not good. However, customization wise, both of these cars are pretty top notch. They were supposed to come out with the Tuners DLC, it is my belief, because they do have the ability to become stanced. It doesn't make them that much faster though, so don't worry about that. You can stance both of them with the interaction menu, which is pretty cool, and they do have really nice customization. So if you just want nice cars to customize and not necessarily to drive at all, the Kanjo SJ and the Postlude are pretty good cars to pick up in that regard. But if you want to do any sort of driving, these two cars are not ones that I would recommend in the slightest. So there you have it. And last but not least, we have the Ubermacht Reinhardt discounted this week by 30% off yet again. This thing is actually one that I would kind of recommend picking up. It's got a lot of good customization. It's all-wheel drive. It is a station wagon. I think it's pretty cool. It really just depends if you like BMW or not. I'm kind of a BMW fan, a little bit. So for me, this car would be worth picking up. The performance is quite good. But for people who don't like BMW, it's not really anything too special to write home about. For 1.1 mil, you kind of can't go wrong if you wanted it anyways. If you didn't want it though, and you're just looking for something to buy, it does have nice customization, and it is all-wheel drive, like I said, so it does get relatively, you know, a good launch, decent acceleration, okay top speed, pretty good handling, but not the greatest car ever. Don't get it twisted, so do what you will with that information. Within the casino this week, we have the Pegassi Zentorno available to be won. If you guys get the chance, you should definitely try to come to the casino every day and try to win it. It's an awesome vehicle. If not, you can of course buy it for 725 grand off a legendary, but it did get a lot of added customization, and if you can get it for free, you might as well try. Within the car meet, we have the Ocelot Ardent available to be won this week. It is actually a pretty cool car, and the challenge to win it is pretty easy. You're gonna have to place top 5 for 4 days in a row, so if you have somebody that you can just simply race with, with for 4 days this week. It is definitely something that I would recommend to try to win. It does have front mounted machine guns, which is pretty cool, and it is one of the faster sports classic cars in GTA Online, and it's very, very underrated. It's definitely a cool car. I would definitely recommend trying to win it. Within the LS car meet this week, we have kind of regular traffic. We got the Pfister Comet S2 as well as the Pfister Growler and the Karin Previon available this week. Now, all three of these cars are regularly available in GTA Online on the websites, so I can't necessarily recommend or say too much about them that's awesome this week. I do think that these liveries might be something kind of unique. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if you guys are going to buy these cars for the liveries, I would definitely make sure that these aren't just regularly available on the cars. I do think that maybe the Previon's livery might be kind of exclusive, and maybe even the S2's. I'm pretty sure the Growler's livery, though, is regular, so do keep that in mind. Definitely check into the liveries before you buy these cars, because I don't really think these are special, but there's a chance that they might be. Within Simeon's dealership, we do have some pretty good removed vehicles, starting off with the Dubachi 770 here in the corner. This thing does not have a discount on it, unfortunately, and it's going for $695,000. This is a pretty cool one. Not a lot in the way of customization, but it has a really, really good look to it. It's based on the Aston Martin 177, which is a pretty cool car. I would recommend the 770 this week. And of course it is removed, so that's another reason to buy it. Next up, we have the Benefactor Streiter. This thing goes for $500,000, and it is an all-wheel drive Mercedes sort of station wagon, which is pretty cool. It's definitely off-road styled. It is pretty good generally, I would say. Not much in the way of customization though, unfortunately. For $500K, I don't think it's the worst decision you can make to buy it this week. It is of course removed, but it's not the best either. Of course, we do have the BF Raptor here as well. This thing completely sucks. It is 3-wheeled, so if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will. It has 0 customization options as well, which is super disappointing, especially for a car that looks like this. I feel like you should be able to do something to it, but you can't. The BF Raptor is a vehicle that I do not recommend picking up. In fact, if you buy one this week, I might actually be mad at you, to be real. Of course, we do have the Declasse Tornado Rat Rod available this week as well. The Rat Rod is kind of an interesting car, goes for $378,000, and for that price, I can't necessarily super recommend it. It doesn't have much in the way of customization either, which does kind of suck. Yeah, it's not my favorite car ever. For 378 grand, you kind of can't go wrong with it, but at the same time, you kind of can as well. Of course, last but not least, we have the Dinka Enduro. This thing goes for 48 grand. It is a pretty cool bike. It is definitely off-road sort of centered, and not the best off-road class bike ever, I would say. I think that the BF 400 is a lot better, and it only costs, you know, less than double the price, so I would just buy that instead. The Enduro is kind of cool too. It's got a little bit of customization, but yeah, nothing too special here. Tragedy has struck at Luxury Autos. We still haven't got anything cool here. It's just the newest cars from the latest DLC, and yeah, got the Vorschlag Hammer and the i8, so yeah, awesome. Amazing, Rockstar. Yes, let's keep it going. How many weeks can Luxury Autos be bad? Let's find out. New record incoming. Within the Chop Shop, these are the vehicles that are available to be stolen this week. None of them are claimable either, which does kind of suck. But if you want to get the Enos Deity, you're going to have to complete the McTony robbery. For the Ocelot Jugular, you are going to need to complete the Gangbanger robbery, and of course, the Cargo Ship robbery will get you the BF Weevil. And of course, last but not least, we got to talk about your time trials this week. Your RC Bandito for today is Construction Site 1, your Junk Energy for today is Sewer System, your regular time trial is Elysian Island 2, and your HSW time trial is up here at the Quartz Building, and it is Pacific Bluffs to Mount Gordeau. So it starts right here, and you are going to end up just over here. Anyway guys, that is it for the update week in Grand Theft Auto Online. That is it for what to buy and what to avoid this week in GTA Online. If you guys enjoyed the video, if you learned something, a like is of course appreciated. If not, dislike, consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.